Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Wednesday. I hope that your week has been going well. It is time for our weekly weather update, and it has been kind of a gloomy Wednesday here across North Georgia. You know, we've had temperatures that have been sitting in the 70s for the most part across much of the region. We've also had a lot of cloud cover out there, but we really haven't had much in the way of rainfall. Now, our best shot for rain, though, unfortunately, is going to be for today, all week. We really are going to have kind of a drier week ahead of us. So I guess kind of enjoy the fact that we have at least that chance for rain. There is some shower activity not too far away from us, and we'll be talking more about that here in just a moment. As always, I love to talk about these during these weather updates. I love to start off, rather, with a little bit of what we're dealing with right now. Again, a lot of cloud cover out there. You can see that out towards the airport. As we move throughout the time lapse here, you see all that low-level cloud. That's all from what we like to call the wedge. When we have an easterly wind, it allows the cloud cover to just kind of thicken up right over us here in North Georgia as it kind of moves around the Appalachian Mountains. You'll see that kind of play out in our satellite and radar look here in just a moment. A little bit of a traffic update too. You know, typically we just talk about weather in these updates. This is for Wednesday, again, but I-285 in the westbound lanes, as of about 2:30 in the afternoon on Wednesday, is still pretty backed up. There was an incident with where a bridge was struck down there on I-285, again, westbound lanes. That's going to be near Mount Vernon on the north end of the perimeter. So kind of Sandy Springs area and west, you see traffic is really backed up in the westbound lanes. I would try to avoid that area. Back to weather now. You see that there's a lot of cloud cover out there for areas like into downtown, very thick clouds there. Seeing a little bit more in the way of sunshine up in the Blue Ridge area. The farther northwest you are in Georgia, the less cloud cover you're seeing. That means that, of course, the Atlanta airport is still dealing with a lot of clouds too. And the fact that we have a lot of clouds is keeping our temperatures down. It's 69 right now in Marietta. We have 70 degrees in Duluth, 68 in Gainesville. It is 80 degrees in Clayton, 75 in Blairsville, and then you see 79 degrees in the Dalton area, 77 in Rome. Now, as we hit throughout this afternoon, these temperatures are going to continue to climb up into the 70s, but that is below average for this time of year. We should be sitting in the lower 80s. We're going to struggle to hit lower 80s. If we manage to do it, I'd be impressed if we manage to even hit 80. 81 is the average high for this time of year. We'll be below that likely for today and tomorrow. Excuse me. Back into the mid-80s, though, as we head into the end of the week. Radar doesn't show really anything in the way of rain out there. We do have some shower activity down to our south, impacting middle and south Georgia. You also see a lot of thunderstorm activity further off towards the north, up into portions of middle Tennessee. Moving now into eastern Tennessee, right around the Morristown area seems to be some of the most stormy conditions there, really kind of just west of Morristown, rather. Looking down into the Atlanta area, again, look at that cloud cover just kind of thickening over us. And notice the edge of it. It's kind of on the edge of the mountains. Again, this cloud cover is going to kind of hang out on the eastern side of the mountain. It's that time of year where what we call the wedge really can impact us, and it's going to impact us for the rest of the day. A lot of cloud cover expected out there. Don't forget to download this 11 Alive app. It can be great for updates on the weather whenever you're on the go. Showing us today those temperatures again staying in the 70s when we look through the hourly. Lots of cloud cover. If we ever have rain on the radar, you can take a live look at it by downloading the app and then taking a look at that radar tab there at the top of the screen. Send in your weather wow moments, and then also watch the newscast live right from your phone, or weather updates like the one you're watching right now. You can also download the 11 Alive Plus app on Roku and Fire TV. You can get updates, extra updates on news and weather like the one you're watching now, right there at your fingertips. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what we can expect over the next few days. Forecast track shows as we head throughout the afternoon, again, a lot of cloud cover. It tries to show the cloud cover really clearing out overnight tonight. I don't think we're going to be that lucky. I think we could still have some clouds tomorrow. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s to start off the day. And then we are going to have a few clouds passing through even for the day tomorrow, keeping our temperatures down into the 70s. Then we move into the day on Friday, starting off with 60s and 70s, moving into the afternoon, temperatures back into the 80s. It is going to be fairly humid here, unfortunately, as we head throughout the middle to end of the week. Dew points are going to climb right back into the lower 60s, which is considered that humid category, but it's not as bad as we had dew points in the 70s just a few weeks ago. It's feeling a little more like fall, but not right in that crisp area, right? Taking a look at the rainfall that we're expecting over the next 7 days, honestly, little to nothing. I mean, our rain chances are pretty much for today, and the rest of the week is looking much drier. You see that we're expecting less than 1/4 of an inch for everybody over the next 7 days. You see a big swath of us may make it through the next week without a drop of rainfall. That means that we're likely going to see these abnormally dry conditions that we have in spots here across North Georgia kind of expand, and we'll likely see more spots included in abnormally dry conditions. We may even see moderate drought start to creep in some spots. Of course, that's because it's been such a dry month. You notice we've only had 5 days of measurable rainfall in Atlanta this month. So we are now nearly 2 inches behind on rain for the month in Atlanta, and we are well behind now on the year because we have had a lot of dry months here. Taking a look at the rain by month, you notice that we have only had 4 months so far this year that have brought above average rainfall. The rest of the year has been behind, and we are going to finish up September behind on rainfall as well. Again, you see we're now nearly 4.5 inches now behind on rain. Covington, you're also behind on rain by 2.5 inches. We are ahead on rainfall though for some spots like Athens, well ahead. They've had a ton of rain out there this year east of the Atlanta area. And then Rome up in Floyd County has also been doing very well in the rain category. A lot of activity out there in the tropics. Switching gears to what's going on out there in the Atlantic right now. Of course, this is the time of year where we typically see the hurricane season starts to calm down, but we still have some activity with Tropical Storm Philippe. This system is expected to kind of just stay at about a tropical storm strength and then kind of collapse as it gets over toward the Lesser Antilles and over towards Puerto Rico then as well. So we're going to keep a close eye on this, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a threat. You see those L's that are showing up on the screen. That's a remnant low. So it's going to kind of collapse as it continues its way off to the west, which is like what we like to see. Then there's this extra cluster of thunderstorms. It's almost kind of grouped in with Philippe. Philippe is right here, and then there's this extra cluster of storms down here. That extra cluster of storms is going to be moving off towards the north and west, and it has the possibility of forming into our next system, which if we do get another system named, it would be Rena. That is the only other spot out there in the Atlantic that we're keeping an eye on right now, so nothing else going on other than Philippe and then that other area that could form into a tropical depression, and then if it becomes a tropical storm, it would earn a name. The next name, again, on the list would be Rena. 5 names left on the list this year. It's been a very active season out there in the Atlantic. We, of course, have had some systems that were a little more active than others, or a little more impactful, rather. Lee became a Category 5 storm. That was a very talked about storm. Idalia was another big system, Category 4 at its highest strength. We talked a lot about Franklin for a while when it became a Category 4, but it really stayed out to sea. So again, it was pretty impactful. Lee becoming a Category 5 at its strongest. Thank goodness it didn't make landfall or have any impacts at its strongest, other than being a bit more of a fish storm when it was at that strength. But then it weakened as it got closer towards land, thank goodness. Looking at the tropical timeline, again, we are now well within the season. We're well now past the climatological peak, about right here, almost to October 1st. And you see things really calm down by the time you hit that line. And then sometimes there's a little more activity towards the end of October. That typically happens when we have cold fronts that kind of die out as they're dipping further down closer to the Gulf of Mexico. And sometimes when you get on the tail end of those frontal boundaries, there can be a little bit of spin, and then you can end up having some tropical systems named. So something to keep an eye on. You know, the season's not done. It doesn't finish until November 30th. We'll of course keep everybody updated on it. So let's talk a little bit about the 7-day forecast. Again, I mentioned it before, not a lot of rain chances in this. We do have a 30% chance in for today. For tomorrow, going to be drier. You see a partly cloudy sky, partly cloudy for Friday, and then we move into Saturday and Sunday, 10 and 11 on the wazometer, keeping with 10s on the wazometer there for Monday and Tuesday. Lows in the 60s, highs into the 80s. So looking pretty good there. Now those highs in the mid 80s at some points, that's above average for this time of year. That trend of above average temperatures looks like it is going to continue as we head throughout that first full week of October. So above average temperatures is what we're looking at, and then around average rainfall, which for this time of year, typically isn't that much. So it's looking like we're going to be kind of drier here. You notice some spots could even be a little bit below average on rainfall for that first week of October. So it doesn't look like we're going to be catching up as far as getting any help in the rainfall category as we head into that early portion of October. Looking at the weekend getaways, maybe you got a big trip planned this weekend. Maybe you headed up to Lake Lanier, trying to end boat season and kind of get everything winterized up there at the cabin, or going up with some friends for one last big trip up there. It's going to be a little cool. Highs in the 80s, lows are going to be in the 60s. Probably going to be pretty cool in that water, so just be ready for that. Maybe a good weather for a campfire. Could be good for that. Savannah looking pretty good this weekend though, with highs in the 80s. 80s again for Charleston. Gatlinburg going to be stunning up there. Probably going to start to see a little bit of color show up in some of those higher elevations as far as the leaf changing is concerned. Sometimes you get some of those yellows and oranges, maybe up towards Mount LeConte. If you go do the big Mount LeConte hike, or maybe you go up to the top at Klingman's Dome, could start to see a little bit of colors change there in those leaves. And then Destin, looking like great weather along the Emerald Coast if you're headed down there for a little bit of a beach vacation. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s down their way. Your Peach State outlook, not looking too bad here in the Peach State. All across the state of Georgia, these next few days are going to be drier. Great weather for anybody who needs to get any work done out in their yard, anything like that, as they try to transition from the summer months to the fall and winter. And then your Georgia State Park forecast, if you wanted to go out and do any hiking, looking like it's going to be a great day there for tomorrow. Lows in the 50s up towards Amicalola Falls. Make sure you're wearing a jacket. And then temperatures only really rising into the 70s for them tomorrow afternoon. A little bit more sunshine up their way, and a little bit more cloud cover down towards Providence Canyon. So that's it for our update. I'm going to bring back up the 7-day forecast. That way y'all can stay updated and get one last look at it before we sign off here. Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb is going to be in this evening with the latest updates to the forecast. Don't forget you can catch meteorologist Chesley McNeil in the mornings, and then of course anytime in between. Now in the afternoons at 4 o'clock you can catch Melissa Nord at 4 p.m. Be sure to tune into that 4 o'clock show. And then meteorologist Nicole Hartford and myself, you can catch us anytime in between as well as on the weekends. I hope everybody can have a wonderful week ahead of them. Again, we're doing these updates now on Wednesdays at 2:30 and then again on Sundays at 11 a.m. Be sure to tune in, and be sure to download that Roku and Fire TV app. That way you can watch these whenever you may feel like you need that extra update on what's going on out there in the weather. Have a great week ahead of you, and we'll keep you updated on everything right here at 11 Alive.